I'm Sam and I'm one of the music producers for Cloud Theatrics. Throughout this past year and looking into the future, self-tapes are more important than ever before. We have found that recording content from home can sometimes be a bit daunting, especially if you don't consider yourself to be a technology wizard. Having learnt a few lessons so far on the Cloud Theatrics journey, I'm going to give you a few tips on how to make your self-tapes sound as good as they possibly can, while Bailey, who is one of our actors, is going to give you some tips to make them look as good as you can. So I'll pass you over to her first to get started.
Hi, I'm Bea. I'm a current senior theater major at Western Connecticut State University. And because of the climate of the world, I, like I'm sure most of you have, been filming a ton of self-tapes recently. So Sam and I are here to walk you through our guidebook to filming a great self-tape. So without further ado, based off of a lot of the notes I've gotten throughout at least this year, if not more, but mostly this year because we talk a lot about it, here is our guidebook to creating a awesome self-tape. Step 1, the background framing and lighting. So I have a white background. You can pretty much use any solid color is kind of the safe bet. Normally lighter colors so that you stand out more and people aren't focused on what's happening behind you. I use a like a screen I got for a projector. It works. It makes everything neutral. Normally it would just be my closet doors there. So this is what I got going. And then for framing, technically, like you normally would want it to be, like for a standard, like normal self-tape, they will specify if they want special things, but like your traditional safe bet is to go with a, like, there should be some space up here, but not too much, and then it should be horizontal with, for like anyone with like a bustier chest, I recommend, or we're told to, go from about here up so that they can kind of see the shape of your body. And then for anyone without a bustier chest, usually about here up. It's kind of your safe bet. So you can move, do things with your hands if you're doing an activity here. That kind of vibe. Yeah? Okay. For lighting, I prefer a ring light because I travel a lot, and it's just easier to grab and go. I also use 2 music stand lights like you would use in the pit for like a musical. They look like this. This one's on because I'm using it. But yeah, so 2 lights, ring light. That kind of helps to, right now, if I like go back, you can see like my shadow. But like the further forward I get, the shadow kind of dissipates. It's less distracting. The primary goal in your self-tape is for them to not pay attention to anything around you and to mainly focus on you. You want to be the center of their attention.
When most people are recording their self-tapes, audio is a bit of an afterthought. The best piece of advice that I can give you as a sound person is to make it your forethought. You don't necessarily have to have expensive equipment or flashy skills to make it good. You just have to take a few things in mind and think about what you're doing. The most important thing to whoever is watching your self-tape is to make sure that the sound is audible and not distracting. Before I show you some top tips with your sound, I'm going to show you a few pieces of equipment that I have which I think would be really beneficial if you want to go out and spend money. But you don't have to. The point is, they're not going to be judging you on the equipment that you have, they're going to be judging you on your acting. The most important thing though is that it's clear. So if you decided that you're going to invest in additional gear, I still think the most important thing is simplicity. So for any actor, the thing I'd recommend to get is a portable recorder, like this one I have here. So this is a Zoom H4n. You can see that it has 2 microphones on the top, which are really high quality for recording either you doing dialogue or singing. You can see that I have a microphone plugged into the bottom here. You don't have to have this, these mics on the top are plenty fine. But one of these you can get for under £100 or dollars. They're really, really useful. The great thing about these is you don't have to be fiddling around with any computers or anything. The only thing you have to do is take the file from this and your video file and match them together, which is really easy in any video editing software. An audio recorder often also runs on battery as well, so you don't have to worry about cables everywhere. Simplicity is always the key to these things. And then once you've got a recorder, you can also think about investing in additional microphones. Again, you don't have to. So for example, there are a couple of options that you can go for. So you can see here that I'm wearing a lavalier microphone, and this is connected up to a wireless body pack. So I could plug this into the recorder and record myself using this microphone. This is a really good idea if you're just doing straight play dialogue. However, I wouldn't recommend this for singers, and you've got to also be really careful about where you place it so you don't get lots of clothing noise. What I'd recommend, and what I'm using at the moment, is a microphone just out of shot above your head. So I have one just about there. It's literally 5 centimeters above my finger. This is really good because I'm getting as close as I can, and we're getting rid of as much room noise as possible. Again, you don't have to have this. I'd recommend a recorder and a microphone, but you can make amazing results with just your phone. Okay, some top tips for recording audio, no matter what equipment or device you're using. So one, you want to make sure that all your windows are closed, so you don't get any outside noise from the environment. The other thing is you want to make sure that your air conditioning and computers, stuff with fans or moving parts, are turned off, because that will increase the background noise in the room. While you want to get your microphone or phone or whatever device you're using as close as possible to you so you don't get much other background noise, you also want to make sure it's not too close so you get distortion. So I'd recommend you probably have about 2 foot between you and your recording device. The other thing to bear in mind is always check your audio, do some test runs, make sure it works before you start recording. This is also really useful for video as well. You don't want to record your whole monologue and realise, oh, my audio is terrible. And then the last most important point, which I mentioned earlier, is it must not be distracting. If you've got loads of hissing or buzzing, distortion in the background, it's going to make it really distracting for the person watching your self-tape. If you just have it sounding clean and as you would expect to hear, it will be the best results.
Okay, next section is costuming, makeup, and then some fun little tips that I have. So, for costuming, how you would dress normally should be inspired by either the pieces that you're performing or the character you're doing. Try to remain with colors that either complement or just don't distract. I usually go for no patterns. I like turtlenecks. I think they elongate me a little bit, and I'm kind of short, so that's normally something I prefer to go with. I do a lot of period pieces, so I kind of try to style myself with like a influence of that. You can pretty much do anything. You want to be giving off the right vibe for what you're going for and what you're performing. So nothing that'll pull from the piece, but just add to it. Think of costumes as your little accessory, like to help you really get into character. Allow your costumes to help you. For makeup, pretty much normal makeup, but remember to use powder because there's a lot of lights. There's a lot of lights. You get sweaty and it gets meh. But remember, powder and T-zone. I love to powder my T-zone. Neutral makeup, allow yourself to shine through. Have fun with it. Let yourself feel good. You want to feel good. You want to be putting your best self forward. And then some fun little tips. My number one tips for filming self-tapes are to have some form of activity that you have. Like when I read sides, I like to have something I'm doing with my hands. So we call this tossing the salad. Right? Just making like a salad. And it looks like I'm doing something with my hands. You don't know what I'm doing with my hands, but it looks like making a salad. So there's that. Take a breath. Self-tapes are fun. They're easier, less stressful. You can do as many as you want. Have fun with it. And then when you have a reader with you, you want your reader to be further back, or at least like off camera. You don't want their audio to be louder than you. The primary focus should always be on you. They shouldn't be listening to how the reader's doing. Yeah? Okay. Well, good luck, friends. I believe in you. Much love. Happy self-tapes.